I'm not following it too closely, so based on what I know and how I see it, I feel like we're kind of seeing like a monopoly being broken up in the PGA with the LIV Golf brand, becoming. And I mean, why are all these guys moving over from the PGA? Well, I think one of the biggest motivators is money, right?
Yep.
And why is LIV paying them so much money? Maybe because that's what they're worth and that's what they're willing to give away.
So there was a CNBC video one of our members sent me today that I watched about half of it. If you look at the big picture, okay, the big picture is the California Angels, Los Angeles Angels are going to go for sale here, and they're saying that they're going to
The baseball team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody is going to bid and probably pay about $2 billion to own the Angels. If the Denver Broncos, I think they were just for sale. I think they're going for like $3.5 billion if you want to buy the Broncos.
Okay.
So LIV is basically investing $2 billion. And instead of having one team in an organization, they're actually starting their own league. And if you look in the grand scheme of sports, for $2 billion in any other sport, that got you one team. They're getting a whole league. And so some would argue that's actually a pretty good deal to actually start your own.
So you're saying that they're spending $2 billion on paying the players.
Correct, to start a brand new league. And now, how much are they going to bleed every year? With not many fans, they don't have a TV contract. They might bleed $1 billion a year for the first couple of years. But there's a new concept that's never been done before in golf, and that's the team part. And there's 12 teams. And what they did is they offered guys like Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson, they're the captains of their team. And their team, they own 25% of it. And that's what we've heard. And so they're going to start selling these teams, and the team might be a Microsoft team, or it might be a, whatever brand. And some billionaire could own a golf team, and on his team, it could be an Australian team with Cameron Smith and so and so and so and so. And so they're going to recoup some of their money back because ultimately it's going to be kind of like F1. And that's how they see it. They see it more kind of like, 12 teams, not necessarily all these individuals. These individuals are playing for individual money, but ultimately we've got these 12 teams, and Shawn's going to be he's going to be a fan of Phil's team, and that's the team I'm rooting for, and that's my team, and that's what they're trying to create, kind of like European soccer or something like that. So that's their spinoff. What they found is a lot of this is my personal opinion, is they've basically found that a lot of the traditional golf fans aren't a big fan of it. Because it's coming, Saudi backed. You're breaking up a product. You should be, proud to play the PGA Tour. Why are you leaving us? What they found is a lot of the younger fans have gravitated towards the events. And so if you go to an event, they have live music. They have basically they have concerts after every day, and it's like a party.
Wow.
And so like yesterday I was watching it on YouTube. As Phil Mickelson's hitting his shot, they have microphones on him while he's hitting shots. Normally it would be dead quiet, and all you would hear is the sound of the shot. You could hear the music playing. And they have speakers all over the golf course.
Wow.
And so they're basically kind of pivoting. I don't know if this was 100% their plan, but they're pivoting to they're the fun brand of golf. For the guy that wants to play his music in his golf cart and wants to go out and have fun, that's what they're playing up to. And that's what the pros on their press conferences are talking about. We're attracting a new fan. We're bringing the game into the future. We've got these young people that are super excited about golf, and they're doing a good job. I mean, there's fans in the crowd, and ultimately, I've read a lot of the articles written by the traditional golf writers, and some of the golf writers, just to not be hey, this is garbage, this shouldn't happen, negative attitude. Some of them have gone and said, hey, I had to go to an event and be a fan and write about it. And most of the articles that have been written have been about what a great time it was. And I'm very surprised how great it is, and it's been positive. It hasn't been like, this isn't golf. This doesn't feel like golf. None of that, I believe, has been portrayed by the golf writers that have actually gone and watched it.
Yeah, I feel like it's just evolution, though. I mean, it definitely sounds like it's making it more entertaining. I haven't watched one personally, but just based on what you're saying, it sounds like it's getting a little bit more entertaining. If I could hear, you said Phil had like a microphone on him. Did they have one like clipped on his shirt the whole time he played, or?
No, they're just up close enough.
Okay.
And there's definitely some F-bombs.
Oh, yeah.
They're not muting. It's on it's on YouTube right now. I saw a comment online. They might have gotten a TV deal internationally. It's not in the US. They're trying to get a TV contract.
They're going to. I mean, with that talent there.
You would think so. The problem is the PGA Tour is putting a lot of pressure on all the people to kind of, don't support this, don't do this. And that's what's going to make it hard for them to get on one of the major stations. We'll see. I think they'll get on TV. Eventually, I think some of the players will kind of say, hey, we got to play nice together. And, maybe we have events where both tours can play together. But it's definitely the PGA Tour is countered by having, next season they're going to have bigger purse events that are going to be more premier events. And for the golf fan, we're winning because those premier PGA Tour events, the best players in the world have said we'll show up to those events. And so when you watch Riviera next year, the best players on the PGA Tour are going to be there because it's part of their oath that they basically said, if we're going to raise these purses, you all need to show up for these 12 main events. And the PGA Tour, I know a couple of the guys that are involved in all this that are the tour pros. The PGA Tour had people come and meet with them, and one of them was like a presenter that said, okay, here's all the tour events. The best players in the world only showed up for like this % of the events. Wow. Most of the time, the best players in the world never played in the same event. Like Torrey Pines. Yeah. Torrey Pines didn't have Rory McIlroy. Torrey Pines didn't have some of the best players. It did have Tiger Woods and it did have this person, but it didn't have 90% of the best players all there because they skipped that week because they'd rather play another week. But what the PGA Tour is going to do is they're going to put all this money into those 12 events, assuming that the best players are going to show up. So us as fans, I think we're the ones that win. Yeah. Because now I don't have to turn into 30 events to get to see some of the best players. I can watch those 12 events next year.
Yeah. Well, then you get to see...
Plus the majors.
Right. You get to see those, because you want to see the best of the best. I want to see Rory, Tiger, Xander, John Rahm, all these guys playing in a lot of tournaments together because I want to see who's going to be the best. If there's maybe John Rahm and a lot of guys that, aren't as good, how much do you want to watch it if he's not going up against that top tier competition?
Yeah, exactly. And then as we all know, when they're basically bigger events, there's more pressure, which the cream rises to the top. Right. And then the guys like John Rahms of the world, they stand out more. But see, John Rahm, when he plays in a B plus PGA Tour event, he may not be as fired up. Mm-hmm. And the other guy that does win it, he doesn't really have much pressure on him because it's just a B plus event. Yeah. But if it was an A event, he'd be feeling the nerves and John would stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. What's happening with the PGA and with LIV. I don't know. I get, not wanting to break up the past and such heritage with, the history of the PGA, but at the same time, we are moving into a different time, and with the PGA having the older guys, at the same time, there's also a shift that's happening because their business model isn't going to last if they just stick to the old guys. Yeah. Because it's a different time.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that they couldn't have maybe worked something out ahead and said, okay, LIV, you want to put in all this money. Maybe you'll do these 6 premier events and we'll call them LIV events, but then we'll still keep the PGA Tour guys on the PGA Tour. But they didn't want to work together. Both are kind of pointing fingers at each other. I think eventually, maybe in a few years, they might work together, but it's going to be tough because ultimately the signing bonus money that the Phil Mickelsons and the Dustin Johnsons got in 2 or 3 years, if John Rahm goes to play on the LIV, he's not going to get $150 million for showing up like those guys did. So
why not? Because they joined early.
Yeah, so it's they're not going to keep giving out that type of money to come play if they join together. Now, if John Rahm today wanted to go play LIV, they'd probably still pay him $150 million to make the jump over.
For like what? Like a signing bonus? Or
Yeah, that's how it worked. Yeah, their signing bonuses for the top players were in the 100 to 150 million.
Signing bonus.
Yes.
That means right away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you better be living.
That's unheard of.
Not in California.
Oh man,
because you be paying a lot of taxes.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.